Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we'll be speaking about the importance of teamwork and how it will help us succeed in both our personal and professional lives. I'll be sharing my screen now. Okay, awesome. So, what is teamwork? It says that it is the effort of a group to achieve a common goal or complete a task effectively and efficiently. Meaning, something that I would like to discuss about the difference between having a team and being part of a group. So, being part of a group is just being part of a group that has multiple people, more than one. But being part of a team is a group of people that are consistently working towards achieving a specific goal. I'm gonna show an example. Let's say you see a group of people that are in a crowd that's in a concert. That's just a group of people. That's not a team. They're not working together collectively to achieve something. But if you see a team in a school that they're working towards doing a school presentation, that is something that's considered to be a team. Make sense? There's usually a lot of teams in both, school and in the workplace as well. So why does it matter? This is key. This is something that I wanted to talk about since the beginning of the presentations, just because for us to be able to succeed, we'll have to work in teams, right? And this is a great life lesson because sometimes we work with people that we do not know, people that we do not like, or people that we don't want to be around with. But as part of life and professionalism, we need to be able to adapt to different environments and manage how to effectively communicate to a different group of people, right? And this is something that we usually do on a day-to-day basis. So the main key point is that you get shared success, right? It is most likely that you'll be able to achieve success if you work with a group of people that are motivated and committed to achieve the same things as you. So, for example, imagine a sports team that's celebrating their win together because every single member they put a lot of effort, time, and they also feel value from the community that they have from that team. So they all support each other emotionally. So imagine that you're watching like a basketball game or a soccer game and you see how emotional, how intense it is when it comes to the teams when they're playing. The other part that I mentioned before is that you do teamwork in everyday life. That is, when you do something with your cousins and you have to do something when you are playing with your siblings and your mother tells you that you need to do the chores, right? So you're working in a team to achieve something. And also when it comes to social life, your friends, teachers, parents, your community, your support system, and also your career. It is true that when you get into the workforce, you'll be working with people, that being part of a team, managing a team, or supporting a team. So what I ask you to do is to be open-minded through this presentation and just know that we will have some moments of self-reflection where I want you to pause and really self-reflect about the experiences that you have had with working with a team. And that can be both personal, professional, positive, or negative. And just make sure that you also put in the skills learned in this session into practice. So what are some of the key elements of teamwork? The first one is communication. And this is key because the way that you communicate with someone might not be the way that you might communicate with the other person. Why? Because people communicate differently. People prefer different methods of communication. So, for example, in the professional space, there's some people that they do not feel comfortable with receiving text messages, but they do feel comfortable to receive emails. There's some people that they don't like a phone call, but they just rather you send all the information through email. There's some people that they might be a little comfortable with a video call, and some people that they just rather have a phone call, right? So it really depends on what works best for the person that you're trying to communicate with. So effective communication, it is key when it comes to developing those relationships and maintaining those relationships. The second one that we have is collaboration. In a team, you have to collaborate with other people. You cannot just work by yourself and do things by yourself. No, there needs to be some sort of structure, some sort of communication, and every single person is supposed to do something to once again achieve that collective goal. The third one is respect. Respect to me is just basic decency. That is something that everyone deserves. And as I always say, make sure that you treat others the way that you want to be treated. And this is key in your professional life. You want to make sure that you're being respectful, that you're being kind, and always like respecting each other's time as well. The other one that we have is responsibility. Being accountable for your actions and your assignment or giving task is very important. You got to be accountable. You need to make sure that you submit things on time and that you do the work that was assigned to you or that was established by you to be working in the team, right? Trust is very important. One of the main parts of working with the team is establishing trust, and that is something that can be done by the first phase, that is when you're getting to know each other, right? So it is known based on research that the more that you get to know a person, the more that you trust them, the more successful the journey can be because you have somebody that's committed to the cause, somebody that can trust you, somebody that's aware of your strengths and your weaknesses, right? So they know what is the best way that they can support you. Commitment is key, really basic when it comes to achieving a goal. So let's say I am a soccer player and I know my teams for years, and we know that we're committed to winning the World Cup or something like that, right? So now we have the communication aspect. We know our parts and the game. We collaborate together. We know that we have to pass the ball to this person, to this person. We have respect for each other, right? We are responsible for our section, for our assigned tasks. And the other one, we are committed. We know that we're willing to make the work. We're willing to put in the time to achieve this goal. The other one that I have here is adaptability. This is key to be successful in any area in your life. Why? Because society changes, the workplace changes. As you all experienced with COVID, we had to adapt from having in-person meetings or in-person sessions to going completely virtual, right? And that was another adjustment that you had to do. Some of you might have good um, computer skills. Some of us might not. I am one of those. I'm not the best with computers, right? So making sure is that we know that we need to be able to adapt this setting to be able to succeed, right? It's the same thing if we go to a different country or if we go to a different culture. We need to adapt to that culture to be a part of that society and that community, right? The other one that we have here is problem solving. That is key. There's always going to be conflict in a team. Why? Because not all of you are the same person. Most of you might come from different culture, different ages, right? Different demographics, which means that all of you might have a different perspective or point of view, which means the disagreements might happen. But the key is on how you deal with that disagreement, right? How is that conflict resolution skill, right? Are you somebody that is going to be yelling and screaming, being extremely aggressive? Or are you somebody that you're going to be able to keep it cool, have your calm, and be able to communicate effectively without affecting the environment, right? Leadership is very important. There's different types of leader, which we'll be covering later into the presentation, which is key, right? Just because some of us might not like to take initiative, some of us might be a leader in our small communities, but we don't want to be a leader in the community at large. Some of us might be good at public speaking. Some of us might not be good at public speaking. Some of us have different leadership styles, right? Feedback is extremely important for you to be able to succeed. You need to be able to take constructive criticism, right? I know it can be hard at times depending on the subject, but that is the only way that can help you improve in the areas that need improvement. In the sense that if I am not the best in public speaking and I'm practicing in front of a group, I need to be able to accept that they tell me, hey, Valerie, I noticed that you do this in the presentation. I feel like if you reduce that, then you're going to be able to be a better public speaker, right? But let's say somebody tells me, hey, Valorant, I feel like for you to be a good public speaker, you need to make more eye contact instead of looking at the floor, looking at the ceiling, right? That those are criticisms or feedback that I know that can help me, right? So making sure that we're being open-minded and taking that reflection into consideration and then making the work. Now I have two short fun educational videos that I want to show you is animated videos. Um, one of them, I think one of them is silent and the other one actually has a dialogue. And this is something that I want you to see. I want you to examine the different leadership styles, like who was speaking, who was listening, how was the communication, was it respectful, was it not respectful, how were they organized, where's the structure, right? Let me show you. So as we can see, the last one it said we are smarter in traveling groups. So as we see a group of teams that they're all facing different situations. They were able to manage how to overcome it by working in teams and communicating effectively and organizing themselves in a way that worked when it came to achieving their goal, right? So one of them was like not getting eaten by the eagle or the bird, right? And that's something that they did together. And the other video that I have here is also very short, and I think you guys will enjoy it. It's about a animated movie that is very well known. Let's see this one. So And the other one we already saw, let me see the meme. Okay. So this one showed the difference between having a good teamwork and having a bad teamwork. So as we could see in the beginning, we saw the groups collaborating together to achieve the common goal of surviving or getting the food, right? And then we see this one, the weather, then where there was a lack of inclusivity in the sense that they didn't accept this person, even though they were very nice and they were willing to work with them, and they just did not want to work with them because they were so different to each other, right? So this goes to show the importance of communication and collaborating together and making sure that you're open-minded and that you are inclusive in your team, right? And inclusivity is very important in teams. Why? Because having people from different backgrounds, cultures, um, can help you get different perspectives and do more brainstorming. Let's say when it comes to professional life, we can have people that can show the creativity in many different ways. So making sure this it's not just a team or the same person, right? We don't want the same team of a person that's just very strict, straightforward, quiet. And then everyone is like that. They're all from the same place. So most likely they're not gonna have, that sense of creativity or um, different ideas as somebody or as people from different cultures and communities, right? Just because they come from a different lifestyle and way of thinking. Now, let's talk about what are some of the teen pitfalls. So, as we know, conflict is going to happen in teams. So, it's really about how you deal with it. So, the first one, it says lack of communication. If not effective communication, I feel like there's a difference. Sometimes lack of communication can cause conflicts in communication that is not effective or according to the team can also cause conflicts. Let's say my group only receives emails. Like that's the way that they communicate with other people. And instead of you sending them an email, you're sending them text messages when they don't really check the text messages, right? In that case, there was no lack of communication because they were communicating through text, but then they were not seeing it. So effective communication is very important. And as I said earlier, you cannot communicate the same way to everyone. The second one is undefined roles and responsibilities. For a team to be able to succeed, there has to be a structure, meaning that possibly a manager, possibly a leader, and then other people that have been assigned work for them to do. For example, let's say if you are working in school for a group project, right? Somebody's going to be the leader, and then the jobs or the tasks are going to be assigned to different people. So let's say, okay, so this person A, they do slide 1 and 2. Person B, they do 3 and 4. Person C, they do 4 and 6, right? So making sure that their tasks distributed. So let's say Valerie, you do the research. Aliyah, you do the writing part. Elfie, you can do the presentation, right? So for you to be able to define the tasks and roles of the person responsibilities, you need to know what are their weaknesses and what are their strengths. Because you cannot just assign the task of giving a presentation to somebody that doesn't speak the language, 2, doesn't like public speaking, and 3, does not feel comfortable and get stage fright, right? So making sure that okay, this person is good for this. Let me utilize it for this. Okay. The other one is poor time management, knowing that if you're going to achieve a common goal, most likely there's some goals and some restrictions and a deadline to achieve that goal. So making sure that you know that the goal, the time, and when it's supposed to be completed. Inadequate planning, horrible. That means that is not when you didn't plan it correctly to achieve the goal. That's why you need the communication, and you need the mindset, you need the structure, you need a plan for you to plan according to it. Then we have lack of trust. A team that does not trust each other are not going to be that committed or motivated to work together, right? Resistance to change. This is something that we see consistently when it comes to possibly getting another management or having a specific way of thinking, right? Then we have ineffective leadership. So that is a leader that doesn't know how to communicate with their team, doesn't know how to have empathy. There's a lot of people that doesn't have empathy, and believe it or not, people that may not know like having common sense, people that do not respect their team members, people who are just ignorant, or people that are not open-minded, or people that are not willing to listen to their team members and about their experiences, right? So that is key. Micromanagement. I don't think you guys might be familiar with the term micromanagement, but that is when a manager is usually managing every single little thing of their team members. So, for example, let's say that you are a manager in a company and that you oversee a total of 10 people. And instead of giving them the freedom, like, okay, this is your assignment, do it by this day. Instead of you giving them that freedom, you're like every single hour text them, hey, do you do this? 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 When you know and they know that that is supposed to be submitted at a certain time, right? So somebody that's consistently overseeing every single minor aspect of everything, right? The other one is the last two is lack of accountability, which is when you don't take accountability for your actions and responsibilities and what you did, right? And the other one, which I think is key, is the failure to recognize achievements. It is very important that as a leader, as a manager, for you to recognize the achievement of your team members, right? Because it feels very different when you feel appreciated in a team, right? So let's say I might be somebody that I'm going through some personal issues, while my supervisor comes to me and say, "Hey, Valor, and I just want to let you know that you did a great job, you did amazing, you're valued in this team, and that we appreciate all the effort that you're doing." Hmm, that might make me feel a little better, right? So, and it always makes others feels better when somebody compliments them about their work ethic or, their connection to other team players. So making sure that as a team member or as a leader that you're constantly recognizing other achievements, right? And the little message that I have here is that addressing common team pitfalls is crucial when it comes to enhancing productivity, boosting team morale, and improving the collaboration, right? And ultimately leads to a better project outcomes. And then here are some of the leadership styles that I was discussing earlier. So the first one we have is autocratic leadership. So that is a leader that makes decisions without much input from the team members. Then we have the democratic leadership. That is the leader that always or usually involves the team members in decision makers and encouraging participation and collaboration. So let's say I have an issue with the company or something's happening in the company that I'm working with. And I'm just like, instead of making a decision by myself, I can meet with my team and say, hey, this is happening. What do you think are some of the best ways that we can handle this, right? And then we can brainstorm and have different ideas. And then as a group, um, we can come up with a plan that works best for the team, with the company, or the project, right? The third one is a servant leadership, and that is the leader that prioritizes the needs of the team members, focusing on their development and well-being. Beautiful. Then we have what is called a transformational leader, and that is the leader that inspires, motivates the team members to exceed expectations by creating a vision of the future and encouraging the personal growth. The last three are the transactional leader, the laissez-faire leadership, and the situational leader. So the first one usually focuses on structure, rewards, or penalties to manage the team members. The second one takes a hands-off approach, giving the team members a significant autonomy. So basically giving the team members a certain amount of freedom for them to complete whatever they have to complete. That's very opposite to micromanagement, as we discussed. And then situational leadership, that is when a leader adapts to the style based on the current situation and the needs of the team, right? So somebody that can adapt to different settings to communicate effectively depending on where they are. And I just wanted to say that for you to be able to be a great team member or a great leader, you need to have some emotional and social competencies. So, emotional intelligence is very important. And that basically means how can I effectively manage my emotions in a way that will create a good environment? So the first one is self-awareness, and that to me means the power of self reflection. So that is, how can I know who I am a little bit more? How can I explore and identify those weaknesses and strengths? And then how can I implement those weaknesses and strengths for me to be able to be a better person, or for me to be able to be a better professional, right? In the sense of, say, I'm doing some sort of reflection, I think, wow, for me to be a better professional, I really need to improve my time management skills, right? So there's the point of like realization, the consciousness. And then now, how can I apply that into my life for me to actually improve my time management skills? So that we can be creating a smart goals and then actually implementing it and going through it, right? Then we have the other one, which is self-management, which is how can I manage myself as a person? So let's say if you're somebody that you get angry very easily, what can I do to manage that anger? What can I do to really manage my behavior and make sure that my performance is looking the way that I want it to look like? The other one is social awareness, being able to be aware of your surroundings, be able to be aware of your community, right? Because the way that you act with your friends is not the same way you're going to act with your parents or with somebody else, right? Because you're aware of the social and the environment. Let's say if you're in a funeral, you're not going to be laughing, you're not going to be having loud music, you're not going to do anything because like that, because that goes against that social norm, right? Like at that point, you don't have any social awareness because there's people mourning, there's people crying in the room. So that's a space where you have to be a little more sensitive, right? The same way that if you're in church praying with your community, you're not going to be cursing out loud. That is completely unacceptable, right? So making sure that you're aware of your surroundings and the social settings happening around you. And then conflict resolution. You need to be able to find out what is the best way for you to manage conflict effectively, meaning that what is the best and healthiest way for me to discuss this with this person or this group of people. Motivation is important. Having empathy is important when you're working with a team, when you're working with a community. Being resilience, knowing that not everything's going to work out the way that you want it to work out, but you're so strong, you have resiliency, and that you have the community that's going to support you to get through this. And the last one, as mentioned multiple times, with sensation, being able to adapt to different settings. Awesome. Well, thank you. That was pretty much it. And I just want to leave you with this message. And it says, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. Thank you so much. Take care.